Ford stopped selling cars in North America. That act laid out a red carpet for Hyundai, Kia, and Subaru. Well, two foreign companies that still produce inexpensive sedans with manual transmissions. Someone at Kia watched my reprehensible videos, saw me spray my crotch with a $30 Amazon bolt-on bidet, heard me boast about masturbating in a Boeing 747-400's lavatory, and thought, invite Brian. Then, James Bell, the director of corporate communications at Kia, looked at the proposed guest list and approved of my presence. Any consequences from this article will fall on very real people. This story takes place over 3 days in August 2018. Wednesday, August 29th, 3:04 p.m., Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I stood in the lobby of the Grand Kimpton Hotel in downtown Pittsburgh. A West Coast smiling Californian from Kia Promotions handed me a free room card and a sealed event guide inside a translucent hard plastic envelope. "It's good to see you," she smiled. Her foundation and eyeliner was flawless. My hotel room had a king-size bed and an electric candelabra inside a bird cage. A handwritten note on the room desk welcomed me to the Kimpton Monaco Hotel with wavy handwriting and a free USB battery pack. Further to the right was a stiff decorative paper gift bag filled with delicate red tissue paper, and inside was a set of free $150 Harman Kardon Bluetooth earbuds. Another journalist would later tell me that this extravagant gift-giving was standard practice and everybody at this event received these Bluetooth earbuds. "Would Kia get mad if I sold these earbuds on eBay?" I asked later. "No, they almost expect you to," my colleague said. "It's kind of illegal to pay members of the press, but there's nothing against them giving us free stuff," he said. On the top floor of the hotel was a hospitality suite provided by Kia. It contained one working vintage Miss Pac-Man arcade cabinet, one modern MAME-style arcade cabinet loaded with about 30 arcade classics, one electronic dartboard, one modern pinball game called Dialed In, a bar-style golf arcade game from the late 1990s, and one skee-ball machine. Band on the Run by Paul McCartney and Wings was playing on a tube-shaped Bluetooth speaker to the empty game room. I was early, and no one was manning a portable bar, which bore a large graphic of a Kia Forte. "Play it loud" in block letters appeared above the colorful description of the Forte. "Play it loud" was the slogan of this Kia Forte launch. Banners and signs with this slogan adorned doors and walls around the classy Kimpton Monaco Hotel in downtown Pittsburgh. The word Kia was embroidered on hotel armchair pillows around the lobby and hospitality suite. The mobile bar was filled with ice and bottled beer. Now, the bottled beer was carefully arranged in the ice to form a circular flower pattern. 3 unopened bottles of table wine also stood next to the ice: red, white, and rosé. No one was around. So I took a Modelo beer and peeled back the gold foil. Was I too early or was everybody else late? The beer was cold. It must have been sitting in the ice for a while. Plates of sandwich wraps and chips filled a nearby serving table. I wasn't hungry, but this was free food. Now, 2 Kia event people walked into the suite and plunged their hands into the ice and took beers for themselves. "Gonna pick up anything for the kids?" one asked the other. "We're not sports fans," the other replied, and both immediately left the room. I'm alone again. I took a sandwich wrap. My college instinct told me to drink up before my good fortune ran out. So I drank and opened the press kit. I'm reading the press kit, and James Bell talked through a welcome letter in the kit. The letter said how excited he was to have you here to play it loud in Pittsburgh. And the next page was a fact sheet about Pittsburgh. Blah, blah, polio vaccine. Blah, blah, Big Macs. Blah, 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 Heinz. Heard their Stillers. But no mention of the Pittsburgh Left Turn, Jeff Goldblum, or furry conventions. No section of this welcome packet listed specifications for the 2019 Kia Forte, So I Googled the car. The 2019 Kia Forte will have two engine choices, derived from a 2-liter aluminum block and a dual overhead cam 4-valve per cylinder aluminum cylinder head. One engine will have traditional multi-port fuel injection, making 164 horsepower at 6,500 RPM with 10.3-to-1 compression, or you could pay more for direct injection and get 174 horsepower at the same RPM with 11.5-to-1 compression. The YouTuber Mark from Savage Geese and Nolan from Donut Media entered the hospitality suite right as I was messing with the hotel's iPad to change the music to vaporwave and pouring myself a coffee, and I was happy to see familiar faces. Thank God I wasn't the only weirdo here anymore. "Did Kia pay for your flight from Chicago?" I asked Mark. "Yeah, I had to get up early though," said Mark. "Free flight, free hotel, free food," I said, looking at the food spread. "Free beer," said Nolan, reaching behind the unattended bar. "What do you want?" "Anything IPA," I answered. Nolan crunched his hand around in the ice and lifted up a dripping can. "How about Anchor Stream beer? Is it IPA?" "No." "What is it?" "It's free." "Right," I said, taking the beer and placing it next to my coffee. If I'm going to make bad decisions for 3 days in a fancy Pittsburgh hotel, I want to make them quickly. 6 p.m., same day, and the hotel was still sparse. No other established journalists were present, and the hotel staff assigned to Kia's Play It Loud press event were bored. They had nothing to do but play arcade machines. One hotel employee changed the music back to top 40. I waited until they left to return the music to vaporwave. A grinning Kia spokesperson entered the room next and softly told us that dinner was served in the main ballroom and we were to make our way downstairs as soon as it was convenient. 7:02 p.m., formal introductions, hotel ballroom. I wasn't hungry after the turkey wrap and beers, but my inner college self was running my emotions. Free food. Get it now before others do. A blues/folk band was in the corner of the ballroom playing a general gastropub-style hip music. Pink and purple LED balls lay carefully scattered around the band and on each round ballroom table in lieu of flowers. By instinct, all of us YouTubers sat at the same table. Older, traditional media men, all men, stayed far from us at the other side of the room. "I feel like I'm at a wedding," said Mark, picking at the dark blue sequins which were sewn into the light blue tablecloth. "Yeah," I said. "They're going to have us toast to something soon, I'm sure of it," I said, getting up and walking to another open mobile bar, which had the Play It Loud banner lit on the front. "Do you have any scotch?" I asked the bartender. "Yeah, I think," the young bartender said and reached for a bottle of Dalmore 15. Drinks were free at this Kia press event, but I still put $1 down on the bar. "No tips," the young bartender said. "Really?" "Yeah, we're not supposed to take them." "I won't say anything." "It's my first week and I don't want to get in trouble." "Well, fine," I said, taking the bill and folding up my wallet. The old media reporters uniformly wore checkered shirts. They clung to blue bottles of Bud Light or gripped wine goblets full of sweet red. They swayed, out of time, to the blues band's music. Waiters circled with beef Wellington appetizers. The band turned up their amplifiers, discontented with being background music. Maybe the band felt meaningless. Most of the crowd turned their chairs and backs to the musicians. Others had their heads buried in phones. James Bell made his way to the front of the room. The band stopped playing. Bell told us how excited he was to meet us. He wanted to know if we were having fun. He told us that last week's batch of reporters and influencers were horrible, boring, and congratulated us for being better already. He liked us. Bell waved his hand over the crowd. "Over here we have well-established publications, and over here we have edgy YouTubers. It's a good mix," he smiled indefinitely. Mark and I looked at each other. Enjoy your food, Bell continued. Tomorrow, I'll see all of you for the press briefing in the ballroom across the hall. The band came alive again, turning up their amplifiers louder than before and leaning into an undulating cover of Money for Nothing by Dire Straits.
"Wanna go back to the game room?"
I yelled to Mark.
"Yeah!"
Mark yelled back, and we started eating fast like it was breakfast and the school bus was coming. I swallowed the last of my scotch so I could refill on the way out of the ballroom, and I chose a different bartender, one who would take my $1. Skee-ball was the only thing that made sense to me at this moment. It was a challenge that delivered failure. No points for sucking, and the machine didn't congratulate me just for showing up. Maybe that's why all the YouTubers gathered around the lone skee-ball machine up in the game room. We chased high scores like subscriber counts. TLC's No Scrubs was playing in the game room, and Kevin from the YouTube channel Exhaust Sports Auto held the high score, 480 points. I changed the game room music to the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack. 11:32 p.m., my hotel room, and my notes simply read, "Pillows large but not stiff enough to build a fort." That night I dreamed about New Zealand and the Johnson's farm. I would have traded this fancy hotel for a tent in their backyard under the Southern Cross. 11:35 a.m., Thursday, August 30th, 2018. I was 35 minutes late for the morning press briefing. I walked into a full ballroom. The lights were dimmed, and a Kia engineer was in the middle of a PowerPoint presentation. He flatly explained the Kia Forte's smart key. "Too long, didn't read. The smart key works like this. Walk up to the car and it unlocks." No one was writing. Most of the journalists sat, fat, happy, and silent, filled with breakfast. Most journalists sat, fat, happy, and silent, filled with a breakfast I slept through. To ramp the crowd into an excited state, Director of Corporate Communications James Bell tossed a novelty plush die, which is singular of dice, to each journalist who was able to cough up enough bacon to ask a question. The stuffed die had a wireless microphone hidden inside. Question: where will the Forte be built? Answer: Mexico and South Korea. Question: how many gears will the manual have? Answer: 6. Question: why is the engine offered with either port fuel injectors or gasoline direct injections? Are you too cheap to make them all GDI? Asked one fat journalist in a checkered shirt. Other journalists who, up until that point, sat still and faced forward, turned in their seats to look at that huffing salt bag. Answer: because the Atkinson cycle is not possible with GDI. Question: who built the CVT? Answer: it was developed in-house. Question: what's the take rate on the 6-speed manual? Answer: 5%. Question: is the Forte's Kia's last sedan? Answer: no, Kia will still make sedans because they're a good value. Question: who is the target market? Answer: millennials looking for their first car buying experience. Question: what is the projected MSRP? Answer: $19,000 for base and $27,000 for top trim and all options. Question: any plans for a turbo model? Answer: no plans as of this time. Questions? Question: any other questions? Well, okay then, said James Bell, clapping his hands together once to mark the end of the question and answer segment. Let's get you all into cars. 20 Kia Fortes were lined up outside the hotel entrance. Each car was running and the air conditioners were on full. Morning commuters held their hands out of car windows, palms up in quizzical agitation. Our press cars were blocking traffic. A pregnant businesswoman walked by. Our press cars were not pre-assigned to individual journalists. Kia event staff told us to just pick a car and go. Mark from Savage Geese and I jumped in the same Kia Forte. I drove, hoping my basic mental map of Pittsburgh would help us escape the most triangular of all U.S. cities at rush hour. Traffic was supermarket conveyor belt slow, and neither one of us were paying attention to the Forte's specifications at that moment. Pittsburgh is a city built to test wheel and rim insurance policies. Cobblestone streets were paved over with cheap asphalt years ago, and the asphalt was now breaking up. The Kia Forte thudded over potholes, and the CVT hunted for fake gears in sport mode. The Kia event planners gave us printed directions to guide us out of town, but they were laminated dad-style MapQuest directions with words and no pictures. I got lost and drove to West Virginia before Mark and I decided to use our phones on the first checkpoint. We circled back to a gray interstate under... You're hearing me edit my paper as I'm reading this. Oh, farted. We circled back to a gray interstate under a gray sky. I made us 10 minutes late, and we still had 30 minutes to go to reach Frank's Pastry Shop, the first of our 2 checkpoints. The 2019 Kia Forte will have optional driver assist, which uses cameras to guess where the road's white lane lines are, and keep a vehicle traveling in between. For litigious reasons, the driver assist will turn off after the program detects no driver input for 10 seconds or so. Some daring YouTubers have already MacGyvered their way around the program by looping a heavy rubber band through the steering wheel and door handle. Look on YouTube, you'll see these videos. This pulls slightly on the wheel and fulfills the program's parameters for driver input, keeping the assist feature on indefinitely. Warning! Hacking a self-driving program is death-face stupid. I found a safer way by driving with my teeth. Meanwhile, Mark was looking for the cabin air filter behind the glove box. A Forte's glove box doesn't pop free like early 2000s Toyotas. There are fasteners holding the Forte's glove box in place. Sport mode was off, and I was driving conservatively, within the speed limit. Since leaving Pittsburgh, the Forte was averaging 41 miles per gallon, a good result of fugal gasoline injection. GDI allows lean turning without the risk of overheating. Frank's Pastry Shop was a small bakery on the ground floor in a block of row homes. A Kia man waved Mark and I into a fast food parking lot across the street from Frank's. "Just park anywhere and we'll bring the car around when you're ready," he said. The Kia man looked at the number on our car's windshield.
"Number 20 is here. Okay, they're all in,"
he hollered to another Kia staff member with a clipboard. Frank's Pastry Shop only has 2 small tables, and Frank's Pastry Shop only has 2 small tables inside and 2 on the sidewalk out front. It's not a business for lingering, but it was busy nonetheless. Workers moved along the deep counter, which occupied 80% of the interior space. Most customers were just picking up or ordering wedding cakes. "Are you having fun?" asked a clipboard Kia rep when I stepped outside with 1 donut and a cup of coffee. No cost. Everything billed to Kia. "Yeah," I said. "Sorry we got lost." "Oh, did you?" she said knowingly. "Yeah," I said, and said no more. I had a feeling that she was more interested in logistics and making sure the cars were safe than in my opinion of the Kia Forte, at least at that point. Mark appeared behind me. "Ready?" "Yeah." "See you at Plated and Poured," the rep called to us as Mark and I walked our Forte, which appeared before us. A Kia representative got out and left the driver's door open, and the AC was back on at full blast. "I'm gonna make that number go down," said Mark, pointing at the mile per gallon average number on the dashboard. Mark was driving now, and resolved not to be in last place. The Kia Forte's CVT won't let you bounce the engine off the rev limiter. When you floor the engine in manual mode, the continuously variable transmission will fake shift up to a higher fake gear. Also, the tachometer doesn't move in tandem with the engine speed. I'm going to say that again. The tachometer doesn't move in tandem with the engine speed. It precedes engine revolutions. The tachometer rises to an indicated RPM figure before the engine reaches said RPM. The needle flies up to a position where the engine speed will be in a few moments' time. Mark was stopping on the Forte's electronic accelerator pedal. The tachometer artificially shot up to 5,000 RPM and stayed there before the engine got there. And then we heard the engine speed up to meet the RPM needle's promises. I suppose this disconnect will go unnoticed by Kia's target demographic, first-time car buyers, and people who just want an car. You know, the type of person who wants the satisfaction of buying or leasing a fancy new car for not a lot of money. This fictional person will be able to park with supremacy next to their 2008 Nissan Altima driving boss. "Does your car drive itself, Bill?" asks our fictional employee. And Bill doesn't say anything, he just moves his mustache. "Let me tell you, Bill, this Kia got some real pep," our protagonist will say, mentally reflecting on how the needle just flies when you step on the gas. 11:45 a.m., plated and poured restaurant. I'm not hungry. Frank's Big Donut was enough 20 minutes ago. We weren't the last to arrive this time. Mark brought our overall fuel economy down from 41 miles per gallon to 32 miles per gallon. Plated and Poured is a brick building with carefully exposed interior brickwork, painted water pipes, and perfect rustic tables made of salvaged wood from some delightful, god-awful, sustainable trash heap. It was a very hip restaurant. I tried to write, but was interrupted more than twice by a waiter asking if I need food. "Need some food?" asked the waiter. "Nah, I'm good." I looked at the print journalists, and they ate ham, paired with red wine. Some tucked paper napkins into their checkered shirt collars. No time to think here, no chance to reflect. Yes, stuff us journalists full of calorie-dense food, make our dopamine flow, engage our biological reward system. Yes, we were having fun. We're happy. Happy words, happy articles, happy marketing department. "Have you decided?" the waiter asked, returning to my table. Thanks, but I'm not really that hungry. I'm good," I said. "Yes, remove us from the cars. Make me write from memory. Fill my memories with happy, satisfied food thoughts." Really, I'm hungry. I'm fine," I repeated to the waiter as he circled around to ask the same question. The old guard journalist slapped up soup sides like joyful golden retrievers. They were happy. I cleared stray utensils and fake flowers away from me to make more workspace. My mechanical pencil never stopped moving. "Still need more time to decide?" a new waiter asked me. I'm not that hungry, thanks." The napkins on the table said Kia. Other journalists drank soda pop from mason jars. Some health-conscious journalists ate salad, smothered in dressing. James Bell, from Kia's corporate communications, came up to my table. "Getting everything you need?" he asks, patting me on the shoulder. "Oh yeah," I said, still writing about each moment as it passed. One journalist boasts to a waitress about driving a Ford Mustang at 150 miles an hour. The waitress, "oh wows," her way through that one-sided conversation. Another journalist tells his beluga whale compatriots how he's giving a Lexus NX 300 F Sport a bad review because he got a speeding ticket during the test drive. "Can I get you anything?" asked the new waiter. Can I have like one apple?" I asked the waiter, acquiescing. The words "face fuck food" appear in my notes. We filter back out to the parking lot where all the Fortes were parked in an orderly line, their noses facing the road. Each car was resupplied with new sealed water bottles. Kia staff members ask each other commanding questions. Which car are you taking? Where are you going? Where's Corinne? Who's taking that car? Take number 6. This one's Meredith, unless you want to drive it." Our California license plates were doing us no favors in Pennsylvania. They attracted a concerned man in a red 1990s Chevy 1500 pickup who stopped to stare at us. He was unshaven and unsmiling. A 911 repeat customer. "What's going on here?" he said, pulling his near-classic truck into Plated and Pour's gravel parking lot. Launch of the 2019 Kia Forte," said one of the Kia, Said one of the Kia personnel dismissively to the man in the truck before turning his back and returning to wrangling press cars and keeping track of who is driving which vehicle. The words launch of the 2019 Kia Forte didn't satisfy concerned citizen pickup man. He kept his truck in park, half blocking the parking lot exit. His driver window was down. His hand was on his chin and lower lip. His eyes were low and scrunched together. His jaw was still and tight. He frowned. If we would have been in Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Vegas, or any other media-heavy city or state, launch of the 2019 Kia Forte would have made sense to anybody. But in rural Pennsylvania, we stood out as oddities. Concerned citizen pickup man looked at each person in the parking lot. Mark and the boys from Exhaust Sports Auto were using tripod sliders and gimbals. They were very conspicuous. Concerned citizen pickup man's thoughts were audible to me.
What the hell is a launch? They're not launching nothing. They're standing around doing nothing. What's going on? Why won't they tell me? We've got a right to know. Why are all these cars from California?
The man puts his scrapper truck back into drive and flowmasters his way out of the parking lot, continuing to stare at as he does. Later that night, he would tell his manatee wife that he stopped a bunch of Californian liberal homos from causing a disturbance at Plated and Poured. Then he will pull back the cellophane on his hungry man dinner and spit on a crayon drawing of Colin Kaepernick. 6:07 p.m. Back at the Kimpton Hotel, ballroom, wrap-up dinner. I looked at a Kia employee dressed in a black and white referee costume. He spun a whistle attached to a lanyard. If there was a time to pay Kia back for free alcohol, food, and seat time, it was now. Carnival-style games were erected around the ballroom. Mandatory playtime. Dance, monkey, dance. Dance for us. Throw Nerf footballs through the holes in the cardboard. Knock down novelty milk jugs. Clap, clap, clap. We're having fun. Start the timer. 30 seconds to kick as many soccer goals as you can. Wait, it gets better. The soccer field is a pool table now. Now play basketball. Here's a makeshift batting cage. Here's a batting tee. Swing as hard as you can. We'll use a radar gun to clock your swing speed. Aren't you having fun? Swing, bada, swing. Take me out to the content game. We're so glad you're here. This is a Forte foray. Time to announce the winners. Everybody clap. Another round of whiskey. We're all having fun. Remember, Kia, the fun car company. Winner, winner, winner. Team, whatever. You win a Harman Kardon Bluetooth speaker. Strike up the band once more. It's time for the after party. Are you having fun? We're all having fun. I felt alone, surrounded by smiles and brands. And then it was over. Just like that. Waiters gathered drink glasses. The band, B-A-N-D. The band unplugged their instruments. Bartenders put liquor bottles back in milk crates and carried them back into the kitchen. Kia representatives dismantled their novelty carnival games and their smiles. My glass of whiskey was bussed away while I stood still. I should have held on to it. I took the elevator back up to the hospitality suite. Beer and wine looked unappetizing now. No revelations wait at the bottom of White Zinfandel. I left the after party. Most people were talking about Southern California anyway, the common neighborhood for traveling media types. Back in my free king-size bed, I closed my eyes. Sleep, you whore. 2019 Kia Forte. A car for someone who wants to feel classy on Ruby Tuesday money. The end.